Good morning. So it's the weekend, and I'm changing things up a little bit. I was watching one of the young fellas on YouTube, and he was talking about fitness and talking about losing that little pooch as you get older, the little one that's just below the belly there. And he was talking about women and their body types. And so there was a quiz. So I answered the quiz, and apparently, apparently, I have the body type that is adaptive. Yeah, the first time I've ever been called adaptive in my life. Anyway, so my body type is the adaptive type. And so there's a certain regime and a certain um, diet and things like that and exercise that I need to do. And so he was giving all these different body types and what they need. Well, my body type is adaptive, so he would focus on the adaptive, right? Because they gear the quiz to your body type after you answer these questions. Anyway, so I I was listening up because adaptive, right? So it's called hormosius or hermosis, where you need to change the pattern in your day-to-day exercise and diet. You need to change it. It's almost like you have to trick your body into metabolizing your food a little bit quicker, right? And it accounts for your hormonal levels, and it accounts for the exercise that you do. And what I was doing, it was a year ago that I lost, it was about 8 months, yeah, maybe about 8 months, 8 or 9 months ago, that I lost the 75 pounds, and I don't have any stretch marks. So I was kind of like, I was feeling like, hey, I got this under control. And then over Christmas, I gained 10 freaking pounds because I was just eating like, I was bored, I was lonely, so I was eating, right? And I had baked cookies and nobody was here, and so I freaking ate them. Yeah, that's what happened. That's how I gained the weight. Anyhow, he was talking about that, and he was talking about the fact once you're over a certain age, and I am 65. Once you're over a certain age, a lot of people give up because they feel like they've done everything that they needed to do, especially a person with an adaptive body who apparently an adaptive body is someone who is like close but not right there, right? So someone who's maybe 10, 15 pounds overweight, which I am. Yeah, so that's the adaptive body type, or your body kind of like adapts to it. But there's something that I had no idea happens. And when your body gets used to what I do, okay, so I'm an intermittent faster, and I eat from 2 till 6. That's my window of opportunity. And it's working. I mean, it works for me. I lose like a good 3 pounds every night. But what I'm finding is I lose that 3 pounds, and then the next day when I go back to eating, I gain it back. And so he was explaining this, and it actually is something that your body does. Your body has an internal type of weight scale, right? And they know what your body type is, and your internal organs know how to combat the fact that maybe you lose too much weight. They're constantly in this battle where they're protecting your body. And so my cat's here. Anyway, and so it was talking about the fact that I have to change things up. I have to almost like trick my body into metabolizing the food that I'm taking in. And so it was talking about, now I do my intermittent fasting from 2 to 6 all the time without fail, except for the 10 days that I fasted, and I lost the 10 pounds in that 10 days, right? Well, as soon as I went back to eating, I felt great. My body was eating up the fat real quick, and I had reset my metabolism. And then all of a sudden I started back into the intermittent fasting from 2 to 6. I would eat in that window, and I was finding that I wasn't losing the weight. And I was saying, oh, what the hell? Like, I'm putting the effort in. I'm doing what I need to do. Mind you, I'm not exercising anyhow. Well, I'm doing the sit-ups and stuff like that, but I'm not walking, right? So he was talking about the 3 things that you have to do in order to accommodate the changes in your body. Your body will literally hold on to the food that you eat because it's scared that it's not going to be fat again, right? So it kind of gets in this its own type of internal type of clock. Well, I'm not going to get fed till such and such a time, so I'm going to hold on to this this fat and this food and whatever sugars are in her system, and I'm going to hang on to them. Just in case, right? It's like my body is a bit of a hoarder. Yeah, that's the way it goes. So he was talking about the fact that you need to change it up. Just like when you go for a walk, if you live in an area like I do where the safety is an issue, okay, you kind of change your walk. You don't stick to the same routine. You don't stick to the same route, okay? You kind of change it up so nobody really knows your habits, okay? Yeah, so your body's the same way, so you got to change it up a little bit, right? So he was talking about the fact that if you do well, he didn't say this specifically, he just said you have to change your eating habits. If you were the type of person that was not having any carbs, okay, then you would go low carb one time and then high carb another, right? So you got to kind of like change it up. And then your body will get tricked into burning that excess fat all the time. It will that metabolic rate will be higher, and it's going to work in your favor because it's going to eat up that fat, right? So, anyhow, he says it's called hormesis. Anyway, so the first thing, he said there was 3 things that you need to do, okay? And it says, and he called them the sculpting triggers. Okay, so the first one is metabolic confusion, where you use a variation, okay? So you do something that your body doesn't think you're going to do, right? You kind of trick them. It would be like saying you're going this way and going that way, right? So for me, that means that instead of waiting till 2 o'clock to have my first meal, I may change it up. I may do 2 days where I have my meal at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then the next 2 days, I have my one meal at 2 o'clock. And maybe the next 2 days, like going through a whole week, the next 2 days, I have my meal closer to 6 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? So kind of changing the time and varying the time is going to trick your body into metabolizing that excess fat a lot quicker. And what it says is that as the body becomes a hoarder, right? As you get close to your goal, and I have like 10, 15 pounds that I'd like to get rid of. So being an adaptive body type, my body gets to that point where I only have 10 more pounds to lose, and then all of a sudden it shuts down and I don't lose that 3 pounds a night. I might lose a pound a night. I might lose a pound a week, right? My body slows down because it accommodates the changes in my diet. Okay, so the first thing, metabolic confusion. You want to confuse your body, okay? Variation. It says doing something your body doesn't know you're going to do. As I said, low carbs one day, high carbs the next. And it says keep shuffling it, keep shifting it, okay? Now it talks about restricting and then recovery. That's where you get the metabolic changes, okay, is where you restrict it one day and the next day it's feast and famine, right? Feast or famine type of thing. Now, he gave a couple examples, and it was a very quick video because they're literally selling a product. They're selling their ideas. They're selling their new routine, right? And so it's going to cost you money, but I was very careful to listen. Hi, sweetie. I was very careful to listen to what I needed to hear. And one of the things in that first metabolic shift is low carbs, okay? So you want to use low carb for 2 days. So not only am I going to shift the time, the variation in the time, I'm going to shift the variation in the food, okay? So low carb would be like eggs, cheese, avocado, fish, okay? That type of thing, okay? And then high carbs for another 2 days. And it works perfectly because I love potatoes. Oh, country girl, I love potatoes. So potatoes, and I like macaroni noodles, right? That white stuff that I don't normally eat. So when you're doing the high carb days, okay, you can have potatoes, you can have bread, I love bread and rice, things like that, right? All those white foods that are starchy. Okay, you can have them. You don't have to stop yourself from enjoying those type of foods. Just do it in moderation and variate it. Okay, so the first couple of days I'm going to do low carbs. I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to eat clean carbs. I'm going to eat eggs and avocados and fish and things like that, right? And my vegetables because I love them. And broccoli is one of my favorite, right? So those are like the low carbs. So for a couple of days, I'm going to eat those. And then the next couple of days, I'm going to be able to eat the potatoes and the things like that, right? Now, I make a lot of soups. It's economical for me. It's easy for me. The only problem with making soups is that you get sick of it. And when I make a pot of soup, I make a massive pot of soup, so it lasts all week. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut back on how much soup I make, and I'll make enough soup for 2 days. So I'm going to divide the week up into 2 days each, right? Low carb, high carb, low carb, high carb, okay? So let's get that out there. So that takes care of number one. Number one trigger. And then he moves to the number two trigger where you have this, it's called a burn amplifier, okay, where your body is burning those calories quicker. They're eating up the excess sugars and the excess food that you have in your system, and it's using them as energy, okay? So you want to amplify that burn while you're doing this, while you're doing the whole system, okay? But it does say the way to do that is not going to the gym and sweating off a storm and, trying all these different things. You use short bursts of effort followed by a rest, right? And your body's ability to burn fat will increase. Yeah, it will increase and it will continue to increase. So you could your body could be burning that fat for 48 hours. Damn, wouldn't that be great, right? So a burn amplifier would be long, steady cardio. And he gave this acronym or whatever, EPOC. I don't know what it means, so. Anyway, I only took what I could get because he talked really fast. And when it's an infomercial, you can't reverse it. You have to listen to the whole thing. So I would have had to listen to it 2 or 3 times to get the information. So I scribbled it down really quick. Okay, so long, steady cardio. So a long walk. And what did I used to do? I used to walk 8 kilometers a day, and I did it every day. And I also did this. I would do, because I didn't like anyone to know my routine, I would change the time of my walk. I would walk one day in the morning, one day in closer to the mid-afternoon, and sometimes I would change it up and go in the evening. Sometimes I would change my route, but I would try to do 8 kilometers each time. Okay, so number 2, I got that pretty well down. I think the first part of it, we're tricking my body into metabolizing the foods that I was eating. I think that's where I had the biggest problem. Okay, so burn amplifier is number 2. And what he says is that 10 minutes of high intensity workouts, okay, will provide you with that type of where your cortisol level is not going to be elevated, or it's not going to be prolonged, right? Because your cortisol level is your body's way of releasing tension and stress and things like that, okay? The stress hormone, cortisol, is behind a lot of the issues that I dealt with, including high blood pressure, okay? Now, so 15 to 20 minutes twice a week. Really? Oh, I used to walk 8 kilometers. It would take me a half hour. Yeah, a half hour. Yeah, I would time it out. It would take me maybe a little bit over a half an hour, but I'm pretty sure a half hour when I was really pumping it out. And I would walk there and back, right? There and back. So 15 to 20 minutes twice a week. I did that every day. So I could limit it where you do that high intensity workout and then you take a break. Right? So I could walk every 2 days and then take a break the third day, and then walk every 2 days and take a break the third day. But I don't choose to do that. I love to walk. I love to walk, and I'm tired of not being able to walk because of safety issues in my neighborhood. So I'm going to figure out a way so that I can accommodate my need for exercise. Like, it's not fair that my health is going to suffer because somebody else chooses to live their life a certain way. Okay, it's not fair. So I'm going to figure out a way to accommodate my need for exercise. So I'm going to continue to walk. But it does say that short bouts of high intensity workouts, and it did say 10 to 15 minutes of prolonged exercise. Okay, so prolonged exercise, no, 10 to 15 minutes of high intensity workouts. I'm 65. I walk pretty fast when I walk. I pump her out. So to me, that's getting my heart rate up. Okay, so to me, that's high intensity. So that's what I'm going to do. If I could, and if I could afford it, because it costs like, I think it's $30 for a day pass at the local Y. I could do that. I could go over and do once a week or twice a week. I think it said twice a week. I could go over and do a half hour on the ellipticals, on the bicycle over at the Y. I could do that, right? And so that would accommodate that 10 minutes of like high intensity workouts, because it's a lot more relaxing to walk than it is to bicycle, trust me. But I've done it for years. I actually had bought myself an exercise bike, and then it was taking up too much room. It was heavy, it was cumbersome. And so I gave it away. Like the things I do. I only paid $50 for it. It was in great shape, and it was working for me, and I gave it away. And the people kept it on their balcony for years. I think they still have it. Anyway, okay, so we're at number 3. Building muscle actually loses fat faster than resistance movement. Yeah. So what it's saying, okay, wait, I think I got that right. Wrong. Muscle will lose fat faster than soft fat, right? You know that little puddle of fat that we have, women my age usually have, right at the lower part of the abdomen, right? So I still have that. I didn't have it before I had the stroke. I didn't have it. But after I took the medications, I went up to 200 pounds. Yeah, I did. I went up to 200. It was massive. It was massive. Anyway, I gained that little pooch. I got that little pooch. And I was prideful of the fact that I was in my 60s and I still didn't have that pooch. Well, actually, it was in my late 50s when I had the stroke. But I was proud of myself because I never had that little pooch, right? Damn it, now I got it. Anyway, so that's called soft visceral fat. Fat. I hate that word, fat. Anyway. You know why I hate that word fat? Because when I was a young girl, I had a family member that literally called me fat. I have to say this, like, I'm so tired of keeping this shit to myself, like I just have to say it. Put the blame where the blame is. I had low self-esteem when I was a young woman, okay? Low self-esteem as a teenager. And it was in my 20s, and I'd come back from the military to visit, and there was some type of celebration taking place, and I think it was Christmas. I really did, because I was a really big girl, and I was eating a piece of cake, and I had a family member say to me, "Don't you think you're fat enough to really need that?" Bah! Bite me, bitch. Yeah, anyway, so this individual said this to me at a family event. So I went upstairs, I changed my clothes, and I didn't eat a god darn thing from the cake. I wouldn't eat anything, right? In fact, I think I left, and I think I went out to my aunt's. I can't remember. Yeah, I don't think I stayed there, or if I did stay there, I think I kept to myself. I can't remember, but I do remember being called fat, right? So I don't like that word. So that visceral fat that we have at the bottom, that is called soft fat. And in order to you can get rid of that little pooch. I didn't know. I thought I was stuck with it for life, but you can get rid of it, right? Because muscle will lose fat faster than soft fat. Yeah. So building muscle is going to tone that area up. And I do sit-ups. I do 70 sit-ups. I do 60 wall push or 50 wall push-ups and 70 sit-ups. Okay. At 65, I think that's pretty good. They mightn't be in the greatest form, but they work. They work, and they're keeping me slim and trim. Okay. Now, so it does say in that third part of this regime, you would do short, focused movements. And you know what I'm finding is that I was watching a program on TV with the Tai Chi, and the Tai Chi is slow, focused movements, right? And so people were saying that they were losing weight and toning up with Tai Chi. And I did get those exercises. I do the Tai Chi walking in my kitchen, in the hallway in my kitchen. I do. I even posted a video of it, so I'm not lying. It's the truth, right? So I'm doing the things that I need to be doing to accommodate burning up that lower visceral fat. So I'm doing the things I need to do, but I think what's happening is because my body has accommodated to me eating intermittent fasting, that I have to variate that. I have to do like a couple of days of low carbs, a couple of days of high carbs, and kind of trick my body into saying, damn, we gotta metabolize some of this. We're gonna need that energy, right? Instead of my body storing that fat for use later, I want to trick my body into constantly burning that excess fat. And then I'll be able to maintain a steady weight. And I think that's where my problem was. So those are the things that I'm going to do. And it was just from an infomercial on a YouTube video I was watching. So I clicked over to it and I found out that I have an adaptive body. That's not a bad thing. It's nice to be able to adapt to your environment, but I'm going to trick my body into adapting a little bit quicker. So I shall see you on the next video. And you know what? If you see an infomercial and it kind of sparks an interest in you, that might be a sign that you should listen to it. So I shall see you on the next video. The good Lord be willing. Namaste.